Hello, I'm Laura Brown, and my husband Chris Brown and I own the Pinewood Village Apartments here in Cheyenne. One of the reasons that we fell in love with this property was because of its rich, patriotic history. I'd like to tell you about the birth of Pinewood Village Apartment. In 1943, World War II was raging. America needed additional support from home. The city of Cheyenne answered that call. Our newspaper, the Wyoming State Tribune, reported 7,333 workers employed in Cheyenne. They were engaged in major war activities, such as building a petroleum plant, Frontier Refinery, and adding armor to the underbellies of 5,500 flying fortresses, heavy bomber planes, to fight in the war. These patriotic workers needed housing, and they needed it right away. Cheyenne citizen Mrs. Van Tassel stepped up and leased her land, this land that I'm standing on. She leased it to the United States for $1 a year. Why? Because our soldiers and workers and families needed to get out of the cold. They needed housing. Construction began in September of 1943. 200 apartments were completed on this land 7 months later. In only 7 months and over a winter, these walls were constructed for our military workers and their families. There were over 1,000 children enrolled at Johnson School, a school originally built for 350 children. There were 8 shifts of first grade alone. You also might be interested to know that some of the buildings on our property were originally built as a post office, a kitchen, a library, and even a dance hall. Our streets are named MacArthur and Patton, and a huge American flag flies in the front of our office. Bless Mrs. Van Tassel for leasing her land to America for housing. Van Tassel Terrace, later to be named Pinewood Village, was born. In 1943, there were 2 other housing projects also completed in Cheyenne, but sadly, they have since been demolished. Pinewood Village is the last one standing. You can see that Pinewood is a special place in our minds. It is a place worth preserving. My husband and I are determined to honor these buildings. That is why we have put forth a huge amount of effort and money to remodel and restore these apartments, 200 of them. One by one, we are doing it. To date, we have completely replaced the roofing on all of the buildings, and we are in the process of repairing the exterior and repainting these old cinder block walls. So far, our employees have completely gutted and remodeled quite a few apartments. We will keep moving forward. We have seen an additional need in our community. Many of the workers of Cheyenne need furnished housing. Now that's something new, and they also need it fast. About 40 of our remodels so far are fully furnished. Beds, linens, TV, sofa, a fully appointed kitchen. Traveling nurses love it here. This property is trying once again to meet the needs of our workers, the backbone of the city of Cheyenne. Let me tell you, it will be a groundbreaking day when we complete all 200 remodels. Today, we are not housing people constructing the Frontier Refinery, but we are housing workers from the refinery and workers in the oil fields. Yesterday, an oil field worker who was living out of his car rented at Pinewood. Luckily, we had a vacancy for him. Today, we are not housing World War II soldiers, but we are housing many Air Force families and airmen. Last night, an Air Force family moved into Pinewood. This family has 3 children. They had been living in a hotel waiting for housing. Can you imagine that with 3 children? When they found out that Pinewood also provided fully furnished apartments, they were beyond grateful to move in. Pinewood Village is not just an apartment complex that only needs beautification. It also needs preservation. It is a part of American history. It is a part of Cheyenne history. And if we have any say in it, Pinewood Village will be a beautiful part of Cheyenne's future.